Hello and welcome to the JTrain podcast. Today I'm joined by my hilarious co-host, Britney Carney. We talk about lab-grown diamonds. We talk about prepaid visas and OnlyFans accounts. And we tell you what to watch this week. And then we go to Patreon and we do a mailbag and a luxury lounge. Check it out. Enjoy. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/Jared Freid. Welcome to the new JTrain podcast. Hello and welcome to the JTrain podcast. This is JTrain, Jared Freid, coming to you live from Feather Nation Studios. We're here every Monday with your emails, your questions, your complaints, anything on your mind. We want you to send it in to jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. This is the podcast of commiseration. This is the podcast of complaining. This is the podcast of having your questions answered by people who have not an ounce of credibility. Well, credibility maybe, accreditation, I guess. We have no doctorates. We're just people that are going to hear your problem. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the faces we make. You can hear the angst in our voice. You can hear us discuss something. Maybe we'll tell a story from our lives that helps you feel seen, that helps you feel like this problem is a real problem. We love the small problems. Those are more interesting to me than the big ones. You know, I like when it's like something that's really small and stupid, but then we can gnaw on the bone of it. So we want you to send it in, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. And I'm on the road, people. I haven't really mentioned road dates in a while, but I would love for you to come on out. This is coming out on May the 6th. This comes out on the 13th? Yeah. Oh my God, we're already in midsummer. Mind blown. If you're listening right now, New Orleans. If you're in New Orleans, know anyone. If you know anyone in these towns, you've seen me on the road, you had a good time on my show, let people know. I'm in New Orleans. I'm in Dallas. Zany's in Nashville. West Hampton Beach, coming out to the Hamptons, Milwaukee, Atlantic City, Newark, and then I just added Cleveland, jaredfreid.com. Very excited about today's guest. Been on the show before. Happy to have her back. Hilarious comic. She has a new special that you can watch right now on YouTube. It is called That Is My Horse. Britney Carney, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Jared.
Such a pleasure. So great to see you.
Oh, an honor.
An honor, right. The special's hilarious. Everyone go watch it.
Oh, thank you.
The link is in the bio of this episode. At Brittany, your Instagram bio is handle. At Brittany Goblin, at Brittany.goblin.carney. It'll be all over my socials.
Yeah.
Why Goblin?
Cursed. Well, okay. At first, for a while, my Instagram handle was James Earl Bones, which has no...
I remember James Earl Bones.
And here, there's a few things going on here. So it really wasn't a reference to anything specific. It's not like I'm a huge James Earl Jones fan or Star Wars fan. I just thought that was kind of fun. Yeah. And so I liked it. Or I feel like my joke for a second was that I never get told that I look like any actor, so why not James Earl Jones? You know, I don't know, just some...
Right. Well, it's funny when it's done just for the fun of it, then you're asked for a reason, then you come up with... you kind of backtrack it.
I imagine some people's tattoos have no real meaning. It's like that.
Right.
But then it was then ultimately, so a few things happened. One was that, I heard a friend was telling me, a friend in comedy was I was talking to this woman and she was saying, Black women are really killing it in comedy recently. Like this person and this girl named James. And then I was like, oh, shoot.
Girl named James.
People don't even know. Or naturally I would post something and then people would comment on it talking about me, but it's from my account, that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, I had my TikTok handle is Wizard of Haas.
It is? Yeah. I like that.
And I like
that's
it too.
So cute.
So it's fun, but it's
oh, that's great.
There's this
but
thing.
People know who you are.
I would hope,
They do.
But the thing is, you go, it is one of those things, and it's this, we have to live, and we were just talking about this before you got here, comedy, making things, creating things, is at the intersection of business and fun. So it's like you have to like keep your fun while also keep your business. So it's like, you know, when you hear like, oh, this woman named James is hilarious, you're like, oh my God, I've lost the messaging. You know, like you're like,
I've never had the messaging. I think I'm terrible at the business side. So my manager officially asked me, can you please consider putting your name like somewhere in the handle? Yeah. And I don't know. I didn't really know. I don't know. I like the idea of like a goblin, like in relationship to comedy, like being like a kind of like a haunting creature. So
a troll, so to speak.
I think
that well, that's the thing. Like, you know, we go on stage every night, and when we see people who don't go on stage every night walk into the stand-up world, it's like, no, we're here talking shit about you, you know, like, and it gets, because we are the, you know, I think Colin Quinn once said to me, he's like, it's never good. Comedy's never good when it's cool.
I agree, you know, so much.
Right. And it's like, because when it's cool, you can go on stage and do, you know, your jokes about like, you know, very surface level jokes, and you'll get your laughs, and people won't see the difference between this surface level joke and maybe a bit that's taken years to work on, you know, and you know, so when it's not cool, you know, all those people that want to just get up to get their rocks off, go away.
You get attention. I think that there's something honestly kind of lame and sad about trying to be cool when you're performing comedy. I think there are things about that are cool in a different definition, and like it's cool, and I think comedy fans think it's cool to do comedy. You get all this like attention. You get to be kind of like, you have a lot of bravado in your own way naturally as a comedian, I think. But then, I don't know. I like Colin Quinn's point. I think trying to be cool or having comedy as a means to seem cool, I think is like opposite.
Yeah, it's lame.
It's a bummer.
It is so, like, you don't get enough of it out of the thing that you have.
Right.
That you have to come on stage and trap people to hear your opinions. It's like, and your opinions aren't even that well thought out because you don't work at it.
No,
like,
exactly.
It's again, this is the frustrating part about stand-up, and this is why we want everyone to go watch Brittany's special. It's so funny, and Brittany is so great on stage. Also, you say something, your first words out of your mouth, and I would say this to you, but you're such a fun watch on stage. It is so, like, I just like watching you, and I like watching you perform. And when you say your opening line, you're like, you said I have a nervous energy.
It's a quick joke about people being nervous for me.
And when you say I am totally in control, I'm like, yes, that nails it.
Thank you.
Because it's like, you're totally in control. But you can see that there's people in the crowd. Like, where's this gonna go? You know,
that joke I think also came naturally from like a parachute thing. Like in other, like for about a year I was doing that in like club audiences where they were like, what is her deal? And I could feel it. So I just had to figure out something to say. So,
but that's the thing about stand-up is you feel. I think it's great. I think it's like, and it's a perfect way because on YouTube you're gonna get anyone that shows up at your door. So you want to show people like, but I think it's like a great. Again, when you say I feel it, like that is something only you can do by going on stage. Like you go, oh, I feel that something in the air has changed.
Yes, it's air. It's so tangible and it's hard to explain. Yes. But I know. I mean, you're very good at reading. Is energy? Yeah. Like,
I have a line in the show I'm doing now, and I say there's only a few words that make people feel uncomfortable, and I stop the show to be like, I just want to acknowledge people are uncomfortable. And I can say, I can feel it, but I go, that makes me like an audience more. That I think we like the audiences where it's like total honest feeling. You go, oh, I feel what you feel. You're being honest with me by like presenting that. Like sometimes you'll feel something off in the room. I remember I had a guy heckle me. I was in Houston, and a guy to the right I was making a joke about whether I would fit in my suit.
Yeah, okay.
The line was, will I fit in my suit? And he goes, so did you fit in the suit?
What?
And I go to the right and I look over and he had like a mustache. He like had a look of like someone that wanted to be on stage.
Where was this?
This Houston.
Houston.
And it was a full room. Like in Houston, the improv there is huge. And I look over and I go, what's up, man? And he goes, you were making jokes about your weight. Why, just wanted to know if the suit fit. And when you go, this isn't fun, this interaction for anyone. The whole crowd was off.
None of the audience want that.
Right.
No.
And it's like, if I made the joke and you're making the joke about me again, like, that's just mean. You know, you didn't come up with it. You know that I am vulnerable about it and telling you that it is something that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So now you're double downing and going, yeah, your suit doesn't fit. And so I look at him, I go, are you okay? Like, again, feeling that intangible thing.
Yeah.
And he's with his wife, and I go, well, how did you two meet? And he like wouldn't talk to me. Because I'm trying to get away from you're an asshole island.
To like, okay,
We'll move on.
Yeah.
We'll make a joke and we'll go. And he just wouldn't talk to me.
What?
And I'm like, it was pretty bizarre. And you have to, now I'm in a hole. I got to dig out. And I move on. I'm not looking to make fun of him. I'm not looking to like be mean to him. I'm looking to do my show. I have a lot of material that I want to do. I literally go backstage after the show and I go on my phone. I have a DM from the wife being like, I'm so sorry. That was my husband. God. And I look, and I had given this woman advice in the past on her relationship.
Stop.
Like
this
personal advice. And I'm going, and I'm like now realizing again, like, what is that intangible thing?
Gosh.
And it's like, it was like the world coming together. And I go, oh, he got brought to the show. I've given his wife advice. He has been told Jared said this. Again, I can understand where his anger at me or not liking me or I can understand where that all came from. I'm his wife's somehow confidant who she doesn't even know. And she knows me better than him, but she trusts him because she listens to the podcast. I can understand why he just walks in hating me, looking for an opportunity. But when it doesn't make sense, we have to trust our instincts. Like your instinct to say, I feel the nervous energy. It is for me. Let me give you this joke to let you know I am in total control. As you do on the special, everyone needs to go watch it. It's called That Is My Horse. It is on YouTube. It is in the link of this episode on YouTube and on the podcast app. So, and I want you all to watch it. It's so funny, but when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally Brittany.
I have a few thoughts about what you were just saying. First of all, at first I was like, is that a coincidence that's the dude that spoke up? But then I realized, no, she must have said to him, oh, I called into Jared Freid's podcast. So you're right. He came in with like a chip on his shoulder that he felt maybe emasculated already. So
something.
Or whatever. Or like he felt vulnerable about it. And then his reaction was to like, in just a disruptive and kind of like childish way, interrupt the show, which then everybody else in the room was subject to. Right.
It's playground.
It's so silly.
And it's, but to me, it's like one of those things that you become more confident in yourself because you're like, oh, I do taste the air. I know.
Yeah.
Why couldn't I figure it out? On stage, I'm literally going, Jared, you suck at comedy.
Oh.
You couldn't figure out this bozo in the front. You couldn't make fun of him. And I'm like, why couldn't I do it? Then when I put it all together with the DM, I go, oh, that was the missing part of the stew.
Puzzle thing. Yeah.
Right. And it's like, so I just think it's like, I think a comedian's power and what makes a great stand-up is like tasting it and going, okay, there's a joke I can make out of this weird taste in the room.
Which I feel so much in my heart that, and this is important, that like tasting the air as a stand-up comes from failure, which is so key. Like I don't know, I had to, and I still will, but it's how I feel stronger. It's how I feel like I learn. So
listen, I agree with you completely. It is stand-up can be a great, when people take stand-up classes and don't want to be stand-ups, I think it's like a great thing to do.
Sure.
Like when people take improv, when you find out why you go, oh, this didn't work. And it's not, I'm not enough. It's what's the puzzle piece I'm missing? What is the thing? It's a good lesson. And, again, like when I talk to people in the audience, and sometimes people will be talking or whatever, and I say, listen, I need you to do one of three things. I need you to eat and drink, laugh, or don't laugh.
Okay.
If you don't laugh, that's as good an answer as laughter. Like, that helps me. That helps the show.
Interesting.
Not laughing. Like, I don't think, but you talking with a friend in between every bit, that's just ruining everyone's time. I don't learn. The audience is being disrupted. And, I'm trying to tell this to a person who's 7 drinks in. They're like, what are you talking about? But this is all to say, everyone go watch Britney's special. It's fantastic. She's fantastic. Okay. We ready to answer some emails?
Yeah, sounds great.
I have a luxury lounge. So the luxury lounge I built with my bare hands.
Okay.
It is a room to walk into and complain about anything you'd like. And I love this complaint because it lives in the world of... weird morality issues here. So, okay. Now, your background is very interesting.
Oh.
But you have a lot of your jokes have to do with history.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Too many. But yeah.
But tell the listener. Yeah.
Sure. So I have, for example, I have a lot of history jokes. In my special, there's a lot of history stuff because I went to graduate school for history and I focused on, at the time, basically early American history and worked in museums for years as I was moving forward in comedy.
I think that's so cool. And, there were, you have the Ben Franklin joke.
Yeah,
and you watch that and you're like, I'm sitting there going, I am learning something and enjoying it. But I think, it's, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot who talks out of my ass. So I when I watch that, I'm like, oh, this is there's real... knowledge with this.
I think I have a lot of fun, I feel like when I was in graduate school, and I wasn't particularly the best student, but I did I felt celebrated by certain professors or felt really comfortable with certain subjects or classes. And my point is that I found a lot of humor in direct primary sources that we were reading or just things we had to read or the way that learning about something kind of a random or obscure detail or person in colonial Philadelphia. I really realized that I found a lot of humor in it. So now in stand-up, I really enjoy writing comedy about history or using historical ideas to write jokes. But I think initially it was harder to figure out how to make it more relatable or accessible.
Oh, of course, I'm sure.
I feel like I'm figuring something out there now. Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to tell the person in the front who's drunk and eating chicken fingers, listen, if you don't laugh, it helps me. And they're like, what the fuck? I'm sure the same is, how do I impart this historical, absurdity that's actually true that I'm trying to show you has to do with today and how we operate today. It's hard. I think this lives in the land of historical absurdity, this luxury lounge complaint. Are you ready?
Love that. Yes.
Okay. Feather to Jared and esteemed guests. I have a complaint about lab-grown diamonds, specifically for engagement rings, that I know is only safe to share here in the lounge. So the lounge, when people write in their complaints, we are here to complain with you and find the morsel of truth in your complaint. I'm recently married, and when my now husband proposed 2 years ago, he did so with a beautiful natural 2-carat diamond ring. Afterwards, I learned that he spent about $15,000 on it. Now, this past weekend, one of my good friends got engaged. When she showed me the ring, she made reference to how our rings are basically identical. They're the same shape and size. However, the big difference between our rings is that her diamond is lab-grown. Many people are buying lab diamonds these days because they're significantly cheaper than the real ones. And from my research, I'd guess her fiance probably got her ring around $3,000. Am I in the wrong? Am I wrong for being annoyed by this? When it comes to engagement rings, size does matter. It's something girls talk about and compare every time there's a proposal, and I don't think it's fair that girls who have lab-grown diamonds get the satisfaction of wearing a big ring, and the guys get the satisfaction of looking like they paid for a big ring when they actually only spent a fraction of the price. I think there should be a universal rule that you have to post a disclaimer alongside your engagement Instagram post, letting everyone know whether your diamond is real or lab-grown, so that the men out here ponying up the real cash can get the credit they deserve. Britney Carney, there is so much to chew on here. This is quite a complaint. What do you think?
Don't people also test a diamond with their teeth? Is that a thing?
That feels like a cartoon thing.
Oh, sure.
Doesn't it feel like? It's like, I think people did that with gold, to see if the gold was real.
Well,
yeah.
that speaks to how much I feel equipped to speak on this.
Here's the thing. We are in no way equipped to speak on anything we talk about in this podcast, but I will say I love that the perspective, the difference between natural diamonds and lab-grown diamonds cannot be seen with the naked eye. Natural diamonds have tiny amounts of nitrogen, while lab-grown diamonds have no nitrogen. This is actually one of the signifiers gemologists use to identify if a diamond is lab-grown or natural.
Interesting.
Well, here's the thing. So no one would notice. No one is going to notice. Like, that is the key. And it's funny that the woman writing in is the I have the natural diamond woman.
Yes, that is interesting.
I love it because I understand where her anger comes from, because she's sitting there lost out on a deal. Like, no one likes not getting a deal.
Right.
Like, no one wants to have the same thing for more money as the next person. No one wants to feel like they got fucked.
This is fascinating because I'm kind of confused about who she annoyed with. Her fiance, her husband.
Oh no, she's definitely annoyed with the other women
with the cheaper,
getting the attention that she gets for
a
fraction of the cost.
I get it. Like, that's like that doesn't warrant the same kind of response.
Right. 15,000 versus 3,000 is a very different ballgame.
Yeah.
But what's funny to me that she leaves out is the moral factor, the morality. Because the whole idea of lab-grown diamonds is that you're not getting a diamond that has come from a weird blood background.
Oh, that's why. I see.
Like, if someone was to write in with their lab-grown diamond, they go, I would be more annoyed that someone who's getting a cheaper diamond also gets to be more morally correct than me, but they did it with financial gain in mind, too.
Right.
That would annoy me.
I see. So she is feeling like that's interesting too. Like, the morality behind it is kind of compelling, because basically it's like a lab grow diamond is more ethical and it's more sustainable. That's the idea.
Right.
Okay. And then she's like, well, she doesn't deserve to have people look at her Instagram posts and, or do that thing where you show your
right. I think it's got to be annoying for anyone with like a regular, like,
yes, I understand that.
Like, to me, I can understand. Here's my most empathetic play. It sucks.
Okay.
Here's the most empathetic way you can look at it. I can understand where someone couldn't get out of their mind that this was grown in a lab and it was't taken from the earth, and it wasn't the old school way,
like excavation. Yeah.
Right. And I can see how they're not thinking of the people involved, which is, I understand why they're not thinking of that. None of us think of the people involved in making this iPhone.
Right.
So we all make choices on what we think about and what we don't think about. So I can understand where someone's like, because there's someone out there that's like, I don't want a lab-grown diamond. And you go, well, why? They go, I just don't want one. And you go, but they look exactly the same and they're cheaper. So you can get a bigger diamond. And it is one of those human things that I don't think people want to admit to. This is just how I feel. I don't care. It's like a kid going, well, I don't wanna.
Right. I have a thought about this. It actually reminds me of something like intangible, but a little toxic. Like, comedy is very hard. Let's say like you work really hard or go through a lot of hoops to achieve a certain marker or comedy, like a certain opportunity, like job, a venue, or whatever. Like, you earn something. Mm-hmm. Then you learn somebody that's in your realm of comics, like in your peer group, earns the same opportunity, but because maybe they just they didn't have to work as hard, or or they didn't go through as much rejection or whatever to get there, they kind of got grandfathered in.
Right.
That stuff actually, it's frustrating. But why shouldn't I be happy for them? But it's frustrating because
it is the human. It is it is the thing that on the internet is easy to act like you're above. I think when people in the comment section, again, how many times have you posted a joke and someone goes, you post a joke about Ben Franklin, you go, and then someone writes, Ben Franklin, screwed my family. Ben Franklin used to do whatever, and you go, you got me. You got me. I guess I shouldn't joke about Ben Franklin.
Right.
I didn't know that there was this like horrific story that I wasn't acknowledging.
Right.
And it's the same thing. You don't want to admit. Most people don't want to admit. Yeah, and no one will come to your defense. No one will come to you. If you said to that friend who got the special, well, you didn't really do as much. They go, no one would help you in that argument.
No, because the optics look bad.
Right. There's no good optics. And that's the thing with the lab ground versus the natural diamond. Anyone can look at natural diamond Defender and go, so you think they should kill humans to get your diamond? And they would go, no. And they wouldn't have anything to say. They're fucked. It's over.
Right.
But I do understand that that's not how people think of diamonds. They just go, I want the real one. And you go, well, it's exactly like they are real. They're just grown in a lab. Well, I would never be able to not think of it. So, and I think we're heading away from that. And most of those feelings are created by marketing campaigns.
Oh, yes, I
the
see.
De Beers Corporation created the whole idea of giving out diamonds. Adam Conover, his whole show was built on that one bit.
Oh, interesting.
Adam Conover, Adam Ruins Everything. The first bit, I watched him do that bit at open mics where he was talking about the De Beers Corporation created the idea of giving a woman a diamond on their as an engagement. So he talks about it. It's his whole opening. You can see it right here. This was
an older special or something?
No, it was on Adam Ruins Everything. It was on True TV. And the whole show was based on this bit that he did, and it was with College Humor. So he basically ruins the idea of diamond engagement rings. So
I see.
And that's how the show, in my mind, this is how I always saw it. But Adam's a great comic, so funny. But this took incredible amounts of research and preparation. Like, here, let's get the volume.
I used to believe that. Well, maybe you believe De Beers chairman Nicky Oppenheimer, who once said, quote, diamonds are intrinsically worthless.
Shut up.
In fact, they're quite common. The only reason diamonds are even expensive is that De Beers has a global monopoly on diamond mining, and they artificially restrict the supply to jack the prices up.
So these are all, he's Miss Frizzle. He's teaching us about,
breaking everything down.
diamonds. So I do understand that this person is high off the drug of marketing, which all of us are in one way or another.
Of course, we can't escape that.
And I agree with her that it is annoying that when you miss out on a deal and someone's holding the same ring as you for $3,000 versus $15,000, that's annoying. And on top of that, not only do they save money, but they get to look like a better person. And it's lab grown. No one was murdered.
Irritating. Right. I understand now. And also with if they really can't, if the difference is really not discernible between the lab diamond and a, what do you call that?
The blood diamond.
Blood diamond. that I can understand. Well, it's even more like it's like a more salt to the wound that it's just the same. It looks. Right. I wonder if it weighs the same, but I don't know if that really.
The human eye, there's no difference. I mean,
I see.
It would drive me crazy. I just think you either get one or the other. I think you can either be a hero or spendthrift. In my mind, what I would add to her complaint, she says, I think there should be a universal rule that you have to post a disclaimer alongside your engagement Instagram post letting everyone know whether your diamond is real or lab grown. You either get to say, I have a lab grown diamond, I am a hero, or look at this diamond, it only costs this much money. Right. I don't think you get to you don't get to be, because you did make money to be a good person. Do you know what I mean? You got a bigger diamond because it was lab grown. And in addition, you get to brag to all your friends that you
get to be
a hero. Righteous. That's the word. Yeah. I can't agree with this person more. I think
that's so funny.
That's the part, but she's left that out of her complaint. To me, it would be more annoying that the righteousness that people get from
right. And I like that actually. I like lab diamond versus blood diamond as a general metaphor for things because it can be applied to other
I agree. It's those the blood diamond is the thing you want. You can't explain. You have to admit.
Right.
I'm just a person that wants a few people murdered for me to look good.
Yeah.
You know, I just want a few just to dry out. Come on, it's shiny.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it's the hard thing. Let's go to the mailbag.
Very human.
Very human. Boys don't get any of the fun tricks to looking cute that girls do. Until now, MeUndies is here to assist with the contoured pouch and ball caddy. That's right, boys. We get to make our boys look good downstairs. The micro-modal sling keeps you separated and lifted down there, making for a much more comfortable experience for you and a more visual experience for those around you. From all black classics to fun prints that show off your sense of style, MeUndies has a look for everyone. I gotta say, I love what MeUndies is doing. They're taking the underwear for men and turning it on its head a little bit, making it a little fun, making it a little sexy. What a fun surprise for your partner to be like, yeah, I put a little thought into how I look downstairs. I put a little thought into the after party that we're going to have later on. That's fun. Also, you can go the other way. You can just get fun prints, and they're just super comfortable. I'm wearing them right now. They're the most comfortable underwear in the world. I love them. You're going to love them. And if you're not happy with your first pair of undies, it's on MeUndies. So that's a guarantee. Good things come in big packages at MeUndies. Get 20% off your first order plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/feather. That's MeUndies.com/feather for 20% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in. I'm going to also add into this. I say this all the time. You have a pair of underwear that you're dealing with. I just threw away a pair of underwear, and it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. What a great feeling. I was like, okay, that one's done. I'm not going to deal with it anymore. Go to MeUndies, get your money, get your free money, get 20% off your first order and free shipping, MeUndies.com/feather. And you're going to replace a bad pair of underwear with a great one. Life can get boring. Shake things up with a box of awesome. Every month you'll get sent a box packed full of carefully chosen gear from the best small brands around the world, tailored to what you love. Getting started is easy. You take a quick quiz on their website, and they'll pick out the right box for you. Whether you're into traveling, photography, crafting, the perfect cocktail, or having a killer sense of style, they've got something for you. I love Box of Awesome. I love what Bespoke Post is doing because it's a gift to yourself, and it gets you into products that maybe you wouldn't have had. Yes, I'm going to say the word confidence, because it takes a lot of confidence to buy something new, to say, I deserve it. That's where Bespoke Post comes in. You're going to take a quiz. They're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and they're going to hold your hand into confidence land to be like, hey, buddy, you deserve something new. Hey, Missy, you deserve to get something kind of cool, kind of different than what you would normally get. And it might get you into a product SKU that you haven't really danced in before. I love it. They sent me this great, it was like what do they call it? It's like perfume. It's incense. It was this awesome incense with a holder. I loved it. And I never would have bought incense for myself. I'd say, Jared, who do you think you are? What do you got, dream catchers in your car window? No. And it nudged me into incense land, and I'm using it. It's great. I also love that Box of Awesome supports small businesses. 90% of everything in your box come from a small, up-and-coming brand. So you're going to learn about new brands, new options, new, fun, fresh, change up your week a little bit. And every month, a little something to make you put a smile on your face. Get a free mystery gift with your first monthly shipment when you sign up at boxofawesome.com. Enter code JTrain at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code JTrain for a free mystery gift with your first monthly shipment. boxofawesome.com, code JTrain. Love that one. jtrainpodcast@gmail.com. Send in your advice question. Love the show. Your Netflix special was great. Thank you. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years. We are living together and at a point where we're talking about engagement rings. So this is an engagement ring episode. Here's the thing. Last week, while putting away his laundry, I noticed he had prepaid Visa in his sock drawer. You ever gotten a prepaid Visa given to you?
Like as a gift card kind
Yeah.
of thing? Yeah.
I think they're the worst. They like don't work randomly.
They're not, yeah, right, exactly.
They'll be like, we don't take these. You're like, it's a Visa.
Right.
And it's like, well, wait, how do I get the money out of this?
Yeah.
It always feels like it's this like,
It's
this
hard to
shell
access.
game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I've got one at least once from some kind of like a work gift or something like that. And it feels like it's hard to understand how you can access it or.
I got paid for it from a show, and I was like, I guess I didn't get paid.
Oh.
I was like,
Right,
just
right.
like this, like
Just lost
I guess I
gender.
wear it now as a necklace. I asked him why he had thrown it in there, and he explained that he used it to buy a quote unquote video. He showed me the video in question, your typical quote unquote video from a famous TikTok girl featuring some man doing what I'm sure you can imagine. I love how proper this person is that wrote in. Like that sentence, she put video in quotes. Like, okay, so it's a porn? I had asked him why he had thrown it in there, and he explained that he used it to buy a video. He showed me the video in question, your typical video from a famous TikTok girl featuring some man doing what I'm sure you can
Victorian.
imagine, penis and vagina.
Absolutely.
I've always been okay with your typical free alone time browsing. I love how coded this all is. So she's
Right.
okay with him spanking it to some videos. I myself am a fan of my own personal time. This is the most polite person.
This
I
feels
love
like
this.
two people like talking, like in a court, like a Bridgerton kind of scene where people are like tittering on the side,
Right.
They're just using gentle coded language, innuendo. Yeah. That's so funny.
I've always been okay. Okay, so, but this seems to be crossing a line. He said he saw her on TikTok a couple months back and was curious for a while, so decided to buy the $15 video. It was on some website similar to OnlyFans. He said that I don't ever come on to him, and when we are intimate, I act like I want it over quickly, which is somewhat accurate, but we are still active at least 2 to 3 days a week.
Okay.
Not a good sign that she's like, where is it? What's this video? And he's like, you don't fuck me.
Yeah,
like I don't want to
there's
get
a lot here. Yeah.
the blaming.
Yeah,
If his
yeah.
first thing is to blame you, he does feel defensive.
Yeah, he's hurt by something else.
Right.
Like she's not.
Don't ever come on to him. Like, that's not a great way to respond to, I found the video you bought on OnlyFans.
Right.
He said he used a prepaid Visa so his information wouldn't be on a sketchy site.
Okay.
Wow. This to me seems like he might have a control problem with this side of the internet. Another part of me feels like he feels some sort of attachment to this woman to cross that line. I know he is a frequent browser on the free websites, and when I asked him why he did this, he said, I don't know, just something different, I guess. Is he like a toddler? I don't know.
Something different.
Just something different, I guess. I feel sick over this. He said he'd be open to going to see a counselor together to get over this, and don't know if I should move forward or take my loss and move out. Any help would be
Okay.
greatly appreciated. Brittany Carney, what do we think?
There's a lot happening here, including there's like something. Obviously, their communication is falling apart, right, as a partnership, and she
Right.
clearly has, like, you talk about the ick a lot. I've been through this kind of experience where you stop feeling like sexually forward or giving in a relationship because there's other things at play. That's not just attraction. It could be like you're kind of building mutual slow resentments, and then maybe less like you feel in general less libido towards your partner, or you're like not like once it's already happening, you're kind of ready to transition out. That can also hurt his feelings, right? I guess.
Right. But I guess, I agree that can happen. But to me, like, that's when the conversation begins.
Yeah.
It doesn't start at, I found your prepaid credit cards that are paying for videos from women you see online,
So it feels like there's this event and this discovery and then a bunch of things under the surface.
Right.
But
the rug is picked up and
I like that visual. So the card thing, does she feel sick over it? Does she basically she's like not trusting him
Well, it's interesting that she's like split what the card means. This to me seems like he might have a control problem with this side of the internet. Another part of me feels like he feels some sort of attachment to this woman across that line. He got a prepaid credit card so that you wouldn't find out about it.
That's very clear. Like,
Right.
obviously.
That is
it's not like,
obviously-
I'm
right.
trying to... Like, him... What did he
Like
say?
he's worried about his information
No,
being on a site. No,
that's
no,
just a cover.
Right.
That's not how people operate.
He should be more worried about like, buying something over Instagram. Like I think that's even less safe than like these porn sites are maybe some of the safest ones because they need to keep that trust.
Yes.
The idea
Yes.
that he got a prepaid card because it could be, this is a crazy site. No. These sites are the sites. These sites created the internet structure of buying things online, to be honest. Like, everything's from porn or war, they say. Like, it's like, so it's like but I do think moving out over this, to me, I think that's, again, we've gotten ahead of ourselves.
There's also, there's like a universe in which somebody in this situation, if what got found out about his Visa, card was like really would own up to it, be like, okay, well, I got this because I'm hiding this and I don't feel comfortable. I'm trying to hide it. But that's not that realistic. People don't really, when they're called out or if they're embarrassed or feeling vulnerable, they won't necessarily be honest, right? Like, so naturally he's going to find a way to be like,
well, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Yeah, whatever. So I think he is like, no, I just want to be safer, which is like an easy out, but not.
Well, he follows it up. He goes, I want to be safer. Also, you're not fucking me and you're not attracted to me.
Yeah.
So I think like
deflecting.
that, like it's all coming out in bad ways.
Really
this
bad.
is,
Really
let's say, like, I think all the ingredients are here because she does say, like, I don't think it's great that he follows up your finding of his porn habit with it's because you're not fucking me. But it is good that he's like, let's go to a counselor.
Yeah.
So like those are good. So like let's say like at his best, at the most empathetic I can be, again, I'm gonna give this guy the same treatment that I would give the person who wants a blood diamond.
Right.
Like that I would look at him and I'd go, okay, he feels unwanted and he feels that and he's got his urges that he's getting through paying on the internet for a more personal video that he couldn't get in the free sites.
Right.
And that is somehow getting his rocks off to get through to the next day, so to speak.
Right.
I can understand how that would work out. It would have been nice if he would have come to you before this and said, hey, I'm having some problems with our intimacy.
Yeah.
And that would have been like if we, it's always easy for us to look at it. It's easy for us to go,
yes. Outside here.
Hey, dude, you should have said it like before you go get your prepaid Visa cards at the gas station.
Yeah.
He acted out in a way that he's not. Well, and I guess of the versions of acting out, there's cheating, and then there's getting a prepaid card to do this. This is not cheating.
Right. Actually, the more I think about it, I realize it's kind of like a little vulnerable. Like it's kind of sweet because he's being a coward, but but it's also like, well, what do you expect? He's not cheating. He wants to pursue this like other way of getting release. And
and if he didn't want to be with you, I don't think he would say, I'd love to go to counseling. I think to me, guy who doesn't want to be with you, his first move is, you should move out. Like this is his out. This is his getaway card.
Yes.
He has the reason. He's been bad. Good. I'm the big dickhead. Get me out of here.
Yes, which is what people do sometimes.
Listen, I would be one of those people that would go, you know what? Not worth it. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So him wanting to look at it, is watching porn a type of cheating? We just looked up. You might not mind your partner watching other people have sex, but do mind them talking to one of the people performing sexual acts live while it's happening. If a person uses porn in a secretive manner to connect with someone besides their partner, it can be considered cheating. And this is from Guloda, whatever that is.
That sounds like a AI Russian AI. Okay, so
let me ask you a question, Brittany.
Yeah.
If you're dating someone, you find out they are paying for an OnlyFans account for a specific OnlyFans contributor. Would that be okay for you?
So here's the word that came to mind actually reading that, and for me, is whether or not it's like, you know how the internet anyway, we have parasocial relationships. So there's some kind of like spectrum or like a threshold here where it's if like, let's say my partner was like, had this membership. I guess on one hand, I would say, well, not membership, just a subscription, I guess is what I mean. Like, well, I think people should be able to watch porn and enjoy that. And it doesn't have to be something that we share. It can be this person's private part about their sexuality. That's okay. I think as long as there's communication about that, that doesn't really make me feel less secure unless it was so frequent and with one particular person that it felt almost like emotional cheating. I think that would make me feel
if they're doing that instead of being with you. If you were like, hey, trying to be intimate and they go, I'm already fresh out. I had a session earlier with my friend from online.
That would hurt my feelings.
Right. But you said something very important. As long as they communicated it, that's the hardest part.
That is the hardest part,
how do you tell your girlfriend, boyfriend, hey, I love what we do, but I also need this outlet. And this particular person has an account that like, it's really good. Because what I don't think people think of when it comes to like OnlyFans is like, is it a good OnlyFans? Like, I'm not subscribed to anyone's, but I would say like, I am sure that there's some people that are like posting once a month. And there's some people that are like, this is my job. I'm putting together quite a product here.
And literally their life source comes from people tuning in every week or a few days a week or, frequent content. And there are couples who then enjoy that stuff together or like certain I don't know. But to your point, maybe this person's just putting out more frequent
or it's really good stuff. It's
high
not,
production.
Right. Like, I guess that would, like, it is interesting because it's like, I've gotten this email here before. The idea that I want, people in the industry to be paid fairly. Everyone wants that in a perfect world.
Of course.
Again, goes very much the theme of today's episode is like who I want to be versus who I am.
Yeah, right.
And how I feel and
yes,
I don't like the
taste
of who I am.
Yeah.
Because everyone wants to say, no, I want sex workers to get paid. I want
be taken care of,
porn
safe,
right, safe and all these things. And then their boyfriend is subscribed to someone with 1,500 followers on Instagram. And they go, well, that's not enough followers. I feel like he's like, she could see their DMs. It's uncomfortable for me now. It's gotten too personal. Again, very difficult. And it is difficult for that guy or woman to go to their partner and go, hey, I just really like what this one person does. I can understand why the communication on that is hard. Easier said than done. So,
like, I feel like as a woman, I feel secure. I feel like also, as I'm hearing you talk about this, I guess it would be easy to then compare myself a little bit to does that person on OnlyFans have something or like enjoys something sexually that I don't really have, or like presents something sexually that I don't have. And I didn't really think about that until just now. And then I was like, well, Jared and I are sitting in couches like talking about this. We're so outside of a situation,
right?
Or I'm able to say, I feel confident. I feel like if I'm in a partnership that feels good and affirming, I don't ever feel less than in terms of feeling sexy or something. Because I feel we share something comfortable and confident.
Right.
But I don't know.
It's so hard because, again, like, not to gender this too, but like, it seems as though this happens more for men than it does women.
Yeah, it does.
So it's easy for me to be like, well, I wouldn't care. Well, I don't think I'm put in that position very. That wouldn't. There'd be a low chance of that happening.
You're
like a woman that I'm dating being like, I just really like this guy on Instagram and his OnlyFans is great for me. The numbers are lower. The percentages.
Are lower.
So it's hard for me to be like to make it an apples to apples kind of comparison. But I do think this is hard. I think for this person writing in, the problem isn't your prepaid visas. The problem isn't the OnlyFans account. The problem starts with the intimacy in the bedroom. And with like, hey, you guys aren't communicating that this intimacy is not working for both of you. And that you're saying, and even though he didn't do it really great, the accusation, you are admitting to the accusation. You're saying, I myself, it was, which he said somewhat accurate. I act like I want it over quickly, which is somewhat accurate, but we are still active 2 to 3 days a week. Obviously, your rationalization of we have sex 2 to 3 days a week isn't the way he's rationalizing your sexual relationship. So there's a miscommunication here. You see 2 to 3 times a week, we get it in, we're good.
Yeah.
He sees 2 to 3 times a week where he feels badly that you're like, come on, hurry up with the coming already. And he's going,
I've been there. But he doesn't, he doesn't feel, I don't think he feels validated. I don't think he feels like sexy. And I wonder if the person that he's using the Visa card for, I wonder if it's like something specific that maybe doesn't come up in their physical relationship.
That he would be embarrassed to bring up. Maybe
nostril, whatever,
a woman picking his nose. That would be like, probably, she'd be like, you just want me to pick your nose? Wouldn't that be the best thing?
Right, exactly. So maybe if they go to counseling, if that's something that could come up.
Well, I think you started counseling, and I think it started like, let's get rid of and even the way she wrote her email, I like to partake in personal time too. Obviously, there's some trouble with saying things.
And with clarity and
right. I hate to sound like we're blaming her, but
No.
I'm just saying, like, she's here to listen. Like, he's not listening. So listen, we're gonna do we have a new segment that we did a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I really love this. So it's called What to Watch. Okay. And we're going to do this before Patreon because we loved it. We did it in Patreon. There's a former one. So we're going to go through the week of TV premieres. And we're going to decide whether we'd watch it or not. Thumbs up, yay, or nay. Okay? This one's called After the Flood.
Oh, wow.
When an unidentified man... So what channel is this on? Can we zoom in a little bit?
I can't.
It's on Best Box? BritBox. Oh, so this is the British channel. Okay, so...
Already that influences me. Anyway.
Okay, you already like it.
Yeah, but...
you trust British TV. I do too sometimes.
I do. But I don't... But obviously I'm saying that prematurely.
Okay,
so I don't
After the Flood, it's on BritBox. If we could zoom in a little bit, I just can't.
Oh, sorry.
So this is a crime, drama, mystery, and thriller. When an unidentified man was found dead in an underground car park after a devastating flood, PC Joanna Marshall is commissioned to investigate the truth of the man's death.
Okay.
What do you think?
So I'm not even a big like crime TV person, but I like how quaint. Also, what's happening with?
Well, she's seemingly pregnant.
Pregnant, like holding her torso, right? Yeah.
We're gonna put this up on the YouTube. I mean, it says here, the picture of the show is her holding her pregnant stomach while. But why wouldn't that be in
the show description?
In the description.
Also, she's expecting. Like,
right? Why are we left to? But why are we left to like as a guy, like my whole thing is like I do not say congratulations unless someone's like, and I'm pregnant. Like they have to literally say it.
Yeah,
like why do I have to feel
funny.
awkward? I'm like, and she has to take a shit. Like it's so weird.
It's weird. The framing of this image is bizarre, but it draws me to it because also I like how kind of quaint and moody the background is, but I'm also putting like, it's British lens on it. So
you bring up a great point with TV shows. You're like, I just want to go into this world. Like, I want to be on a foggy English street for a half hour. Get me away from, especially like a summer day. Like, look out the window now. It's beautiful out. You're like, I don't want this beautiful weather. I just want to be on a rainy British street. And this is giving all of that with a pregnant woman.
I prefer rainy British street
to all streets.
Yeah, let's say 80% of the time. Yeah. I like rain.
I'm with you. Like I love a Seattle backdrop.
Yeah, I
but
love
like
Seattle.
This is I'm a no on this. I can't have the poster tell me she's pregnant and then have it not even acknowledged. Like in my mind, I've already seen the show. I go, we find out that the dead guy in the parking lot is her baby daddy. And that's why she's investigating it. Like, I can already see what's going to come out of this. Like, why would they hint so loudly at her being pregnant? Okay, let's go to the other one.
Right.
This one's on HGTV.
Okay.
And it's called Who's Afraid of a Cheap Old House? Love the name. Love the name. Because when I see the name, I haven't read the description yet, but I'm just assuming It's a husband and wife team that fix up old cheap houses.
And that's a
my
reference to Who is Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Huh. Okay. Historic house experts help home buyers find old properties being sold at ridiculously inexpensive prices and restore these architectural gems to new glory.
Huh.
You're a history buff.
Yeah. So at first I don't have a lot of attention span for HGTV programming, but I am into historic houses.
Right.
So I'd give it I'd give it an episode.
Right. I'm a thumbs up on that one as well. I would need. Here's the thing with any Reno show.
Yeah.
I need the percentages to work. John Taffer, Bar Rescue, works because I get 30% Taffer yelling at the bar. I get 30% I would say it's like 40% let's see what they're going to do with this place.
I see, right. Like the mystery.
And now you get like 30% here's the new bar.
Yeah.
Which is what I like.
That's interesting. I
so
like that
for
ratio.
this, Who's Afraid of the Cheap Old House, I would need 10% history on the house.
Yeah.
Then I need to see how 10% how in disrepair it is.
Yeah. And then the reveal.
Well, I need the in-between of here's what we're going to do. Here are the plans. My biggest problem with these Reno shows is they do a lot of let's see what Gary's doing. And he's cutting wood. And I'm like, I want reveals.
Right. Actually, I really like the math here too. And I think it does depend on their chemistry and their likability as the people running the show. Because if they're kind of maybe if their vibe doesn't sit with the viewer well, if they're kind of annoying or something, it's hard to then want to tune into the process in between.
I'm with you. And you know what I also need from them? I need them to be very knowledgeable about these historic houses.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
I need them to look at the banister and go, this banister is only in
1720, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
This means this used to be a brothel. I need them to have random things.
That's very fun, I think. And maybe they are. I'm curious of what their background is.
Yeah, let's look these people up. Okay. No. We'll move on. Who's Afraid of the Cheap Old? That gets a thumbs up. Botched bariatrics.
I don't know what that word is.
What is a bariatric? Botched bariatric? What is that?
Bariatric. What is that?
The branch of medicine that deals with the study and treatment of obesity.
Huh. I don't even know what the etymology
bariatric.
Of that
So
word
these
is.
are stomach stapling.
I see.
Oh, so this is
interesting.
Weird during these times where Ozempic is out. I would think Ozempic has ruined the. Remember, the sleeve on your stomach. So this is called. This is on TLC. It's called.
Bypass?
It's botched by what is it called? Bariatrics. I already now knowing what bariatrics are. I don't think this is a fun show.
To be honest, I think it just sounds really sad and tough. To be honest,
sad. Can you imagine someone just telling you, "Yeah, I can't shit"?
I know, because maybe I'm assuming ideally they've turned it around. If what's happening is patients are coming in having a botched bariatric surgery. I'm assuming in the end that they've improved things, but that process is tough. That sounds really sad.
Here's the sad part. Agreed. I think we're on the same page. They're showing up going, someone else screwed up.
Yeah, I can't eat. I can't shit.
I need two things to happen. I need them to have come into tons of money via the suit they have against the former doctor.
Totally.
I need them to be in a better place financially than they were.
Yes.
Because of what happened.
Yes. What's that called when something's
I need them post lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I also need a before and after. If you're gonna give me a weight loss show,
stomach organ, or you mean their
no?
outside,
I gotta see how it
inside,
did
outside.
when they did the botch.
Oh yeah, sure.
Doctors and experts in their fields take on botched bariatric patients and see if they can undo the mistakes made during their previous surgeries. That doesn't promise enough before and after. I need happiness, and I don't know if we figured it out is enough of a reveal for me.
7.1 on IMDb. I have a hard time with medical disaster shows.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're fascinating, but I agree with you. There needs to be a win, the money. Or they need to have a really loving family or partner or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever,
Because that's all I think about is them feeling uncomfortable. Then I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's really... Yeah, that's tough.
Okay, so here's an Amazon original. It's called Outer Range.
Okay.
Community tensions come to a head when a mysterious black void arrives in the abbot's pasture.
Okay, I have a thought, which is when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, it's like Old West.
Right.
Or it's like, also because really quickly the A is circled with which looks like the anarchist symbol. So I'm like, okay, interesting. It's like anarchy in the Old West. And no, it's like a black void, like science.
So it's science fiction. So you know what this is? And I talked about this last time we did a TV What to Watch segment. This is everything is now, what's the name of the show? This one? What's the Kevin Costner show?
Oh,
Yellowstone.
Everything is Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, yeah.
So Yellowstone was so successful that now we're getting Outer Range, which looks to me like sci-fi Yellowstone.
Version of it. Yes, I agree. Because
that's what they do in TV. They go, successful thing, now we're doing, and that's what when you pitch shows, if you've been in these pitches, they want you to say
reference.
It's Yellowstone, but aliens.
Meets the Office. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Meets the Office. Yeah. Michael Scott is going to go into his backyard, and there's going to be a black void, and he's wearing a cowboy hat. Yeah, that's every show pitch because no one's creative.
No, and
everyone wants creative people in business, and this is again, this show really wraps around and ties into itself. In the beginning, we were talking about you want to be creative, and you also want to have a business eye.
Yes, you're right.
So when you're trying to sell TV shows, there's some people that are more business, and there's some people that are more creative. But the more you got wife and kids and health insurance to pay, the more you become business. So you need to convince someone with bills to pay that your creative idea was already successful once.
Right.
So when people come in for the pitch, you go, Yellowstone. Successful. You will get your bills paid. And E.T. Also successful.
Very successful. And that's so funny because I feel like now I've learned the hard way because I am working on a historical pilot, right? Like I want it to be very joke dense and a comedy, but still a period thing. And my point is that I can see when people's eyes glaze over. So I've learned the hard way to figure out how to cross-reference something.
Right.
It's just trying to combine business with your idea.
You need to get creative with your creativity. It's really the hardest part about
this.
Like in my mind, like it's not like I'm fucking Chuck Lorre. I've never sold a show in my life. So like I wonder how anything ever gets made. Because like you go, everyone just looks at you and goes, it's too small. But what is it? What's the hook?
What's the so what factor? Right.
When was anyone ever hooked?
Right. And this is like, I was just watching something on an airplane that was like also old, but it wasn't Yellowstone. It was like it was called 18 something. And
well, Yellowstone has now evolved. There's like 17 shows that are connected to the original Yellowstone.
So I think it was one of those, but set as a sort of prequel earlier.
Yes, it's called I know what you're talking about.
And I watched some of it, and then I feel like also what was funny is because I was flying from Idaho, so I was like thinking about the Old West, and then I was like, yeah, I'll watch this. And then now there's like Beyonce has this country album, which isn't the more West. I know she's like from Texas,
right?
But there's something happening stylistically where like being stranded by a mountain and there's a cowboy hat is kind of the moment.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because we're so connected with social media and the internet.
Yeah.
That there's this like yearn for being alone.
In a big space.
Right.
Where there's like adventure and a horse.
All right, so let's go to Friday's premiere is called The Big Cigar. Okay, this is coming to Apple TV. I am not subscribed to Apple TV, but it seems as though everything on Apple TV is like glossy.
Huh.
Doesn't it have that like look? It has a shine to it. It's almost becoming the new HBO to me.
That makes sense.
More curated. A Black Panther leader teams up with a Hollywood producer to elude a nationwide manhunt and escape to Cuba while being pursued by the FBI.
So I give this a thumbs up. I love. It's funny. I'm such a sucker for anything 70s, like kitschy 70s aesthetic.
And this has that aesthetic. This is beautiful looking. The poster's good looking. Everyone in it looks like a movie. Is it a movie?
It's a movie or is it a show? I can't
No,
tell.
limited series.
So also limited series is compelling to me because I feel like I appreciate those. I'm bad about tuning into series these days. So
Right.
I like it when there's like 6 episodes.
Well, there's an ending.
Yeah.
We're going somewhere.
Yes.
So I'm into that too. And also, I like 70s,
Yeah.
but also Cuba.
That's
Cuba
fun.
has like a
That
world
sounds
I
fun.
want to dive into. It has a look. I want to see them drink
Yeah.
the coffee. I
Like
want to
an
see.
air to taste. Speaking of
Yes.
taste, it look like it's a universe you want to explore because it's also hard to explore. Like that's kind of distant to us
Totally.
culturally. But also the funny thing is that for me, I don't know if I'm usually into like FBI or like manhunt type shows, but everything else about this sells it on me. Sells it to me.
I'm a
Sells it for
thumbs
me.
up. I just love, it is very much a Mad Lib sentence. A Black Panther leader teams up with a Hollywood producer to elude a nationwide manhunt and escape to Cuba while being pursued by the FBI. Like, it just kept going. So much there.
You could input any noun or location, but anyways.
Okay, so this one's called Chow House.
Oh.
CIAO, like goodbye in Italian. It's on Food Network. 10 rising culinary stars who will live together in an Italian villa and compete against each other as individuals and in teams to prove their mastery of Italian cooking techniques and dishes. So this seems to be a combination of Top Chef and the baking show, the British Bake Off, because British Bake Off, they live together too.
I like cooking shows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge. What I like about the British Bake Off is that it doesn't feel like American reality TV, which I don't have much relationship to or like don't tune into that frequently. So maybe this feels like it's combining elements to your earlier point, right? Like it's like this versus the crossed with this. I think the cooking part seems fun.
I like this. You know why? Here's the only way I'm going to watch.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah. That's another factor here.
I need them to do relatable Italian dishes. Like
Right,
I want them
right.
to go. I want them to go garlic bread. Go.
Yeah.
Like I want to see a chef's take on garlic bread. Like wouldn't that be fun? Like I want
Yes,
the episode
that'd be
to
really
be
fun.
garlic bread specific. I want episode 2 to be chicken parm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And so, sorry, to that point, what does it say then? Sorry, I don't have my glasses. Cooking Italian, the mastery of Italian cooking techniques and dishes. So that could mean either higher end or something more rustic and relatable. But the image, like the promotional image, looks more like.
It looks like it's not going to be relatable. Well, it does look like they're at the Last Supper. That's supposed to be like
that must
Last
be exactly
Supper.
what the framing is, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I need to see what to me, a cooking show is as good as its backbone, as good as its spine. Like I need a cooking show to be like, I need it to have, where are we going? Like sometimes you watch like Beat Bobby Flay and they keep changing the rules and you're like,
Oh yeah.
whoa.
Oh yeah. You mean the competition kind of?
Yeah,
one?
I need the competition to be very, like Survivor, you know what you're getting.
Oh,
and then
okay.
they throw in a couple variables here and there. Sometimes with these shows, I go,
What's the goal or like?
right,
what
I'd rather them go garlic bread, go. And then
Yeah.
they have to like go through, find me the best bread at the market. Like now they're like search.
That
like,
could be fun.
Right.
And I like watching people like experiment with food and like play. Like I think that sounds nice. And I also think it might be like a background TV. Like I'm just doing something where I'm cooking or whatever. and
Most
it's on the
food.
background.
I
Yeah,
like that about
yeah.
a food show. Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to Patreon right now.
Great.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you haven't done Patreon yet, I'm doing Coffee with JTrain every week, and we're going to do an Am I Crazy Dog in a luxury lounge right now. So we're going to go back in the lounge. We're going to do an Am I Crazy Dog, and keep watching and listening. Also, send in yours, jtrainpodcast@gmail.com, patreon.com/Jared Freid to sign up. $5 a month.